And we are live. I am Ronnie James Harris, and I'm joined by Jason William Laufenberg. We're back on the Beyond Flat Earth channel tonight for a super hard-hitting podcast where we're going to go into some Christian memes, and most importantly, we're going to break down the Agenda 2030 and everything that's been going on. So, Jason, how are you doing this Sunday, October 30th, bro?
Woohoo! We're live on Beyond Flat Earth again, everybody. So exciting to be back here. I say tongue-in-cheek. So we're back here because of a community guideline strike on the Awake Souls channel. That makes two, so the channel's going into hiatus for the next 3 months. This last one you might get a kick out of. It's for misinformation. All right, and guess which hangout it was, brother, that got me the community guideline strike?
Christian one.
Tabernacles got hit with misinformation. So that that says a lot where YouTube is right now. They're giving community guideline strikes, calling it misinformation when a channel is covering tabernacles.
At the level of insanity. So basically what it is now is that truth is absolutely hate speech and misinformation. That's what we have here. But I don't want to get too focused on to negativity so quick. You're the one throwing it out so fast. What else is on your mind?
Let's see. Other than that, we've got more signs of a diesel shortage. I'm just going to go down the road that you don't want me to go down, do you?
No, we could go down. Yeah, I was waiting to go down that road with you. Actually, I actually let people know on the Rise and Grind podcast that Jason had stuff to interject about the diesel shortage. This is one of the most important topics that we could possibly talk about. Yes, I am all ears right now.
Let's see. I'm trying to think of other things that have caught my attention. We've got Dr. Barry 7 Days of Awe, who is he's really pushing that the flood took place in the eighth month. You know those group of channels out there. They like to switch to second with the eighth. They say that the calendar was changed. So that's nonsense. The flood began and ended in the springtime, not in the fall. It would have been rude of the Creator to bring Noah out of the flood into winter, right? He wouldn't have been harvesting and making wine. So it's a group of people that try to flip-flop the flood date. One of the things that we remind people is that they were on the Enochian calendar, right? The Hebrew calendar wasn't instituted until it was given to Moses, and that was a long time later. So if you're talking about the flood, it was on the Enochian calendar, and that is set by the equinox. So you go equinox, you go 30 days, then you're in the second month, and then the 17th day. But what they like about flip-flopping this day is they like how it ends up on 11/11. All right, if you do the second month 17th day as the eighth month 17th day, what you end up with is 11/11, and that's Remembrance Day. So that's right in this heart of November coming up, where we've got a number of days like we've always paid attention to the 3/11s and the 11/3s, and so we're coming up on 11/3, we're coming up on 9/11, and we're coming up on the 11/11. So all wonderful days that the New World Order favors. All right, so we'll see if and how they get used, but more talk being put for this as in the days of Noah, and it's not the eighth month. It is.
The springtime, right? Springtime.
Exactly.
Well said. A lot of topics that you touched upon too. Well put out there. The diesel shortage is something that we should circle back to, because the regular fuel is transported by diesel fuel too. So we see a huge trend growing here, and their ability to want to stifle and continue to suffocate any local small mom and pops businesses. They're doing these rolling agendas to destroy and basically disturb the way that the economy is running altogether. It's amazing that it's still even floating you were watching the stock markets and all these things. These are topics that I don't usually go into too often, just because I don't spend much of my time following the stocks and the trades and things being shorted and all this stuff. It's more in your ballpark, Jason. So we do have that to talk about. What else was on your mind tonight? It's Sunday, right? We're here. It's early.
Yeah. Well, and the whole diesel thing, it actually has me worried.
Okay.
Not I mean, as far as losing my life, I'm not concerned. I'm willing to lose that. But as far as comfort of life is concerned, this whole looming diesel shortage thing seems like something that could really dampen the quality of life for a while. Because like you were saying, then all of a sudden the gas stations run out because the gas is brought in by diesel. Everything is moved around and done with diesel. And yeah, so it would be an easy way to disrupt the entire system. We've got the talk of Biden and us being on a digital dollar December 13th, and so who knows how quickly they can make this whole
Yeah. Sorry, I'm over mic here.
longer than we hope, and we're just paying attention to it. So it could be another failed headline, but the railroad strike is actually still in the background. One of the things that we're watching is election day, because the railroad strike people have said that they're rejecting, at least one of the unions or a couple of them are rejecting the deal, but they're waiting until after midterm elections in order to strike, because they're doing this to protect who, Mr. Sniffer. So yeah, there's a number of things that we've talked about in the past that sort of seem to fade out of existence for a while that are now headlines again. And it could get exciting. I hope it gets exciting. I'm bored.
Yeah, well, I just finished getting everything all dialed in with the sound settings. It seems like some of the settings weren't exactly up to par for what I needed to be. There was a little bit of cutting in and out, but I do believe we're now flying smoothly. The plane is leveled off. We're into the zone. We are not dipping the nose down due to any curvature. If you are unaware, you were on the Beyond Flat Earth channel. When we started this here podcast channel, it was because we were already beyond the topic of flat Earth and into breaking down our actual reality. And how it's more of an illusion than anything else, right? Everything that is seen is made from what is unseen, and what is unseen is actually real. Just like if you kill the roots, if you expose the roots to the visual sea of your eyes, you're going to kill the tree. And that's the truth of this place. So I guess it's nice that we're still able to go live. We still have another channel. It's got a few thousand subscribers, but it doesn't even seem like that seems to have any sway or matter anymore. If you're not verified, if you're not Team New World Order, it's just going to be the way that it is. So let's just hope that we continue to do as good of podcasts as possible. And so if there's not too much else that you wanted to touch on.
Yeah, I've got.
We're not in a rush. I could put some background music on and let's just chill. You know what I mean? Go ahead, bro.
All right, I could do a little bit of a primer for our content that is going to be coming up. So I've been collecting tabs for a while now on the hydrogen economy, and it's going to be time to talk about it soon. So we're going to be, on Wednesdays and Fridays, we're trying to come up with more science-y type stuff. So this is when we do the flat Earth. This is when we do stuff like the jet fuel hoax, war is a hoax, dinosaurs aren't real. But what we're going to do is we're going to dedicate some time to the hydrogen economy and what that really means. I'm frustrated that this world just keeps ticking by, and I'm always looking for strategies how to leverage the end coming sooner than later. And the strategy that I came up with is we really need to open people's eyes and thought processes to how you can use hydrogen, because you can actually go off grid with this. You can become independent, and you can actually create vehicles, right, that you can actually move around just by fueling it with water. And so this should be something of interest to a lot of people that want to break away from the B system and become independent. And so if we just keep going, if we got another year here, if we got another 2 years here, I'm going to really focus myself on opening up the door to hydrogen and its potential uses in our very lives. And what I want to do is focus on actually creating things where we have models, we have working prototypes, and so I'm going to set goals as far as being able to unplug from the grid, disconnect ourselves from the grid, and show other people ways to do this, and to go through the whole process of cost effectively looking at, what are the best materials that we can use, where can we source these things from, how do we put them together, how do we put them to use, and do that as channel content, where that might become like a side focus of something that I do, where instead of always being awake souls, I might have like hydrogen guy type content that I sort of drill into.
An offshoot, so to speak, right? A subsidiary YouTube channel. I might do a few of those too. So, also disconnecting from the power grid, as well as disconnecting from the fuel pump. So you mentioned the liquid hydrogen use, but what fascinates me more is the dried storage usage of it. And that topic is I'm very interested in that. We've already understood how to do electrolysis, I think most of us, since grade 2 or grade 3 when we learned it. But the whole dry fuel cell technology that you've been bringing into the picture lately is something that fascinates me, because you put a reactionary substance of powder into a container, and when the container changes its nature, so to speak, you hook wires up to it and power comes out. This has got to be one of the most fascinating things that we've ever really touched upon. And so if you wanted to comment a little bit on that technology, I'd be interested in hearing.
Sure, just understanding fuel cells. So, I had a totally wrong understanding of how to use hydrogen in electric vehicles. I had always had this vision of hydrogen as being a gas that you would want to combust, right? And remember, when it combusts, it does not explode, it implodes. It's a totally different property. And if you just pay attention to implosions, there's only one thing in the world that implodes, and it's hydrogen. So very unique property. Everything that you do should be designed around the knowledge that it's contracting as opposed to expanding. So it's the most plentiful substance in the world, hydrogen. It's the hottest burning gas of all. It let's see, you get the best flame out of it. It's the lightest. You can lift stuff with it. It's really some neat stuff. So the whole hydrogen fuel cell, right, is a chemical process where there's no combustion, there's no implosion, there's no spark, and it's not combusting. So what's taking place is the hydrogen is just like in a battery. You have an anode and a cathode. There's a process that happens when the hydrogen hits the catalyst and these anodes and cathodes. Heat is created and electricity. All right. So hydrogen, as I'm starting to understand it now, is what it is it's the most efficient method of energy storage. Most efficient energy storage. It has the highest density energy storage, much higher than diesel or gasoline. You can store more energy in hydrogen. So we want to use the best storage device. We need to start using hydrogen. It doesn't mean that everything is just free all of a sudden and things are going to magically work, but it is very, very plentiful, and it's super reusable. And the more you use it, the more you clean the environment. So all around, it is the method to go with. We got to shift away from batteries, right?
Well, a few more
we still will use batteries to a little degree, but for the most part, we want to store our energy with hydrogen from now on.
We're going to use dry hydrogen storage batteries instead of using the Duracell ones. And what I wanted to bring up that I found really fascinating with this whole study is, so hydrogen is hard to contain. That's the thing that Elon Musk was going on and on about. Oh, we can't use hydrogen. You can't store it because it seems to be able to. Well, what it does is it's able to pass through any barrier. It can literally escape through seals of tanks, right? So what happens is, as the hydrogen transfers itself through walls, it turns itself into a different type of a substance. We don't even understand how this takes place. And as it passes through the wall, it generates a reaction which creates electricity. Right? So the hydrogen...
It is a process of fusion, because what's happening is the hydrogen is being recombined with oxygen. And as the two are being recombined, remember the hydrogen and oxygen were separated. Those two were split apart. And so now all of a sudden, when you have hydrogen on one side where it's just pure, and then you have the oxygen being combined, as it comes back together and reforms, you have heat, electricity, and it comes back and fuses together again, fusion, where 2 parts hydrogen, 1 part oxygen have now become 1 part water.
Yes.
And it's such an incredible process. If you just look at that, there's your proof of creation.
Well, and not only...
This completely reversible process where you can take it one direction and you can take it the other. Nothing's lost, right? But you do gain energy out of the process. It's just miraculous.
Okay, let's take it up another notch. Okay, not only are you, what's happening is the hydrogen is separating itself, passing through barriers, walking through walls in reality. But what's happening is you're actually creating a vortex. You're creating a vacuum system through the reactionary process that's taking place, and it's actually sucking energy into creation. So it's quite the thing to fathom. The whole vacuum aspect of this whole technology and everything else that we're talking about is something that is quite fascinating. And anyone that's ever worked with any vacuum systems knows that they're very tricky, they're complex. So some of the key other technologies that I would like to bring to the table with the team as well is I like the hydraulic systems, right? Pneumatic pistons, and yes, understanding vacuums. We can do a great amount of things with these combinations together. So don't forget that the hydrogen is not only... Oh, I'm losing my earphone. Hydrogen is not only doing a magical thing where it's breaking through a wall, separating itself, reforming itself, you're saying, in the end, so that you can redo the process, right? And then the other thing I'm going to throw it back to you is that combining solar panels and other types of building materials where you can actually use the radiant heat and the light that's cast from the sun to then power your hydration systems, where you're then creating the dried storage, you're creating the hydrogen gas, because you had mentioned hydrogen is the best cutting gas. It cuts through anything. It's super hot. There's a whole bunch of things about hydrogen. It implodes, where it actually creates a vacuum out of reality, where it collapses in on itself, and the force outward is what gives you the devastating shocks. So those are all my points, and I just wanted to throw it back to you about what have you learned about solar panels? Because the last one I remembered, I was doing my research in technology, I thought that solar panels were basically this like stupid, dumbed down technology that they just threw at humanity, kind of like their wind turbines, basically. So I'll throw it back to you, brother.
Yeah, neither solar or wind turbines are bad. So here's what we have to do is recontextualize what they're used for. And so the solar stuff that they have right now, a lot of it you see 30% efficient. So they've made improvements in their panels where they now call it 30% efficient. And with wind turbines, you're really at the will of the wind. But here what you have is you have DC power generators with the photoelectric cells and with the motors that they have in the wind turbines. So that electricity, if you are getting sunlight or you are getting wind, it's free. So what was the problem before is people would go to store that and they'd have to store it in batteries. Right, so batteries are expensive and they decay. Their performance goes down over time. And and then they become an environmental problem and all these other types of things. You're mining for rare earth type things. So the problem is in the storage of this free energy. So what they're saying to do is, when you have the solar and when you have the wind, or if you've got tides, or if you got anything, what you want to do is store it in hydrogen. So the electricity that is being made, you just focus all of that electricity into an electrolyzer, where from this electrolyzer you get hydrogen. So you take your hydrogen and you want to store it. Now, there's two main ways of doing this. You can do it under high pressure, where you have to have these super specialized tanks, and it just sounds dangerous, right? They put it under super pressure to make it condensed enough, because remember, hydrogen is the most spacious of all gases. It holds the most amount of volume. It really doesn't want to be packed down well. So there's different techniques, and one of these is the dry catalyst storage that you were talking about. And with the dry catalyst storage, what they have is a catalyst that they put into a container that now all of a sudden they use low pressure, maybe 10 psi, and they press the hydrogen into the container, and the hydrogen actually absorbs into the catalyst like a sponge. Right, so there's a reaction that takes place, and it's like a hydride. The hydrogen and the catalyst, usually some sort of metal. Now all of a sudden you have like a flake, an oxide, which is now it's dry, and it's storing hydrogen in massive amounts. So some of these canisters that aren't all that big can store 3,000 liters of hydrogen under at 10 psi. So they're safe. You don't have to, these types of canisters, they've put so much safety into them now that you can shoot them, you can do all these different things, and they don't pose a threat. So there's the whole liquid storage of it. Instead of super chilling it and turning it into liquid hydrogen, which sounds dangerous. What was the other way? You can
dry storage.
Liquid. You can actually store twice as much hydrogen in something like ammonia, right? As the volume, right. As the volume of the gas of hydrogen actually is. So you can store hydrogen condensed in ammonia or methane, all these different gases, even like the stuff that they call natural gas. What's in it that's the real fuel is the hydrogen. So fertilizers that are loaded with nitrogen, all these things, there's just concentrations of hydrogen. Hydrogen is the fuel all over the place, and there's different ways of transporting it. We don't have to do it as a gas.
So just interject, you flew by a really important point. So ammonia acts as a sponge, so it soaks in more hydrogen than hydrogen itself is able to carry.
They have other fluids better than ammonia. Yeah, they're creating these super fluids that they can just
superfluids.
Yeah, so much hydrogen into this fluid that the fluid itself is your battery. So in this fluid, you pump your hydrogen into it, and it's stored in this fluid. And then as the hydrogen gets used out of it, so you can almost think of it like the gas that's within a HVAC system, right? The freon that they're using it's transferring energy. It's acting as a carrier of this energy, and so too they can create different fluids for carrying hydrogen. Everything's got hydrogen in varying quantities. You're going to find hydrogen in beer, right? All these types of things, but we want to have the highest storage capacity in the safest means possible, and there's multiple ways for us to be doing that. We want to stay away from things that are caustic. We want to stay away from things that are flammable, and highly flammable. It's going to be flammable, but we can manage it. So there's all these different techniques out there. What I want to do is get into a position where we've got some solar panels, where we've got a wind turbine, and we're trying to harvest those things in order to create hydrogen. And we're going to store our hydrogen and then we'll use fuel cell technology and inverters in order to power our equipment. So
That's right.
And then down the road, once we start making excess of hydrogen, and we've got this stored up hydrogen, then we want to play with vehicles where maybe we start with a nice golf cart, big golf cart type thing, and they got electric motors, right? So we want to take our hydrogen, have our fuel cell there, and we want to be able to make that run. So if we want to take our cart for a ride, we could just pull one of our canisters that we've got our hydrogen stored in, plug it into the buggy, and go. Right? If we're going for a long distance, we'll take 2 canisters with us.
So the moving forward is definitely going to be into the creation, storage, and usage of hydrogen as a means of powering everything, not only our vehicles with the fuel cells, but our homes, our working tools, our machines. Everything is going to be done through the usage of hydrogen, not the black goo and everything else. Somebody did bring something up in the chat. We won't spend too much time endorsing things that don't pertain to the topics that we are covering in the podcast, but this one I will give a little second to. Testing, if you do the research and you go and look at Lord Stephen Christ is the channel that he went by, he actually did try to replicate the rectilineator experiment, and he failed because it was flat. Jason and I formulated a test. The entire flat earth community was held to task. We documented it that nobody cared. 3 miles along the shoreline of the Galveston Beach with a water level experiment where we would have basic wall set up, where we would do the initial stages of basically laying out a wall with 3 posts set a mile apart, 3 miles apart from the beginning to end, with the surveyor showing the height off the water was consistent down the edge of the beach. If you build a wall at the edge of a beach and it's 3 miles long and you use the top of the wall as a level marker, it'll show you that for those 3 miles that you build that wall, that knee wall at the shoreline is flat. It doesn't have a curve. It doesn't drop 8 inches squared per mile. You're going to find that it's level. And unfortunately, anybody else that doesn't do the research just to simply understand that if you look at the water in a cup, the top of the surface always rests level. If you look at a pool, the water in the pool will always rest, unless there's like an earthquake or something, level. If you look at a lake, the water from one side of the lake shore to the other when it's calm will be level. If you look at an ocean, which is most of the realm that we're in an island realm, you will find the same thing, that the oceans too have their level. They call it sea level. So anybody else that ever has any questions or anything to input into any of this, what you need to do is formulate a way to prove, test, and retest all your evidence that there is curvature either for or against a sphere. Whether you're concave or convex, you run into the same problem. Water alone, by its own liquid tendencies, debunks everybody. We've gone over that. That's why this is Beyond Flat Earth, because we teach you that we're in a simulation here. It's a virtual reality. I'm going to throw it back to you now. I've gone over my 1 minute shift.
That's fine. He's saying it's about the actual rectilineator. So how big of a rectilineator were they using? Was it a 1 mile long rectilineator? Was it a 2 mile long rectilineator? Was it a 3 mile long rectilineator? And if not, then it's nonsense. So a rectilineator is a mechanical device that provides squareness, which can be used for levelness. And so there's an easy thought experiment that there's nobody that has any building skills that's ever been able to get past, and that's what we were talking about. And that is, if you were to set a seamless gutter down by the beach, where you set posts all the way along the beach, and you set them all same height, so that when you put that seamless gutter out, right, that it read level. You could put a spirit level in the gutter. Right, you could use laser transits to make sure it's level. You could use optical transits. You could do whatever you wanted. Then you could fill it up, right, and you could measure all the way throughout this gutter whether or not the water varied whatsoever, and you could see at 3 miles that there's no curvature. All right, you wouldn't be deviating from the land. You wouldn't have to be building up your rain gutter trough. All right, you wouldn't be going, there wouldn't be a curve falling away anywhere. And Yeah, so I mean, we're happy to do experiments like that. If people wanted to get behind that and they wanted to see a seamless gutter put out somewhere that we have access to 3 miles of land, we can show everybody that there is no curvature. It's very easy.
Yeah. It's ridiculous now to the point where it's hilarious when anyone actually tries to challenge us, right? Because we've been saying it for years and showing the repeatable, observable evidence that a child could understand. So when anyone comes with anything outside of that, we always can see straight through it, basically like a screen door in a windstorm. So keep on trying, but hey, the truth is a roaring lion, and it devours anything that isn't true. So, Jason, what else did you want? Did you have anything else that you wanted to go over before we make a switch? Because when we do that, I would like you to continuously talk while I change my setup on my end, if possible.
Yeah, sure. No, nothing else to really go through.
Ad hominem attacks, excuse me. This guy has to go later.
Fools, we can actually do the experiment. Just
fools. 2 and 3/8.
Let's get a group of people together. Let's find a place where we can put out 3 miles of seamless gutter.
Let's do it.
And
I'll dig the 3-mile gutter myself. How about that? I'll do all the labor. Actually, I'll be smart. I'll drag something behind something that digs it perfectly for me. But whatever, you know what I mean? How we get it done is how we get it done. And Jason, we're just going to continue to share the truth. People are going to say what they're going to say. We're not here to save anybody. We're here to share truth. And that's it. And we are beyond flat Earth. So
what's somebody's point like that? They think a rectilineator is proof that we're on a spinning ball flying through space?
No, concave, probably, right? I'm assuming. He got blocked because he started calling us names, but it's all these Lord Stephen Christ guys that are the rectilineator. No globe earther would ever try to do that experiment, nor would they try to do ours, right? Doesn't that make anybody wonder? Jason and I started saying this in 2017. You'd think somebody has enough money and enough beachfront. The entire realm, remember, is an island world. We all live on an island. Every one of us. There's enough shoreline where the ocean meets the shore that you could do any of these experiments, and you don't even need you don't even need tools. You just dig a gutter, fill it up with water. If you dig a gutter right before the tide goes out, as the tide goes out, it'll remain water in the gutter if you have a gutter built along any shoreline. As the tide goes out, the water will stay there, and you can walk the 3 miles. You're not going to see any curvature. You're going to see the water perfectly level at the top of the gutter. Right? That's just the evidence that we've witnessed, and anything to the contrary is nonsense.
All right. Well,
so should we switch?
I guess we can get into it.
Okay, let me put the thumbnail on here. Let's just check and we'll move forward here. Getting back into the swing of things, I'm trying to work on getting better at doing my operations. Jason, you're going to have to take over. Also, I'm going to turn you down before you move closer into your mic. I forgot to do that last time, and this time I didn't. So take it away. I'm going to get set up here.
It sounds good. Thank you for joining, everybody. We appreciate those that when we can't use one of our regular channels anymore, that the ones that can follow us here because, well, they know how to find us. So for the next 3 months, we're going to be live on Beyond Flat Earth. Go ahead and spread the word. This is our new home now. And this is all because they said misinformation about one of our recent hangouts that we did on Tabernacles. So they don't tell us what parts of the misinformation, maybe the fact that we were saying a different day than what the Chabad Lubavitch say Tabernacles is. It's really baffling to have it called misinformation now when we're doing Christian content, and to be community guideline strikeable. All right, that's getting serious. So there was another thing that I noticed. I don't know if anybody's noticed it, but my YouTube has changed where you used to click on videos and you could go through a channel's content and see all their videos. For me now, it's showing recent and popular. And what that is meaning for me is that people can't see my videos. So you can only see the recent videos and you can only see the popular videos, and you cannot see any of the other content. And I noticed that from Google Chrome that doing the search on my channel wasn't even giving me additional content, and that that from Brave I was able to doing a search on my channel still find videos that were public. So they're to the point now where they are hiding the content on people's channels, where only your recent content and only your popular content is going to show up.
Yeah.
And that's brutal.
That's crazy. It's crazy what you're saying.
Blocking access to
Wow.
content.
I know. When you showed me that, I was just like taken back. Wow, you can't even get to the content anymore. So at least we've already started moving stuff over to Odyssey to stay stored there. There's absolutely zero traffic on that website. So Jason, question for you. Would you like to start with the Christian memes, or do you want to start with the Agenda 2030? What's your idea?
Start 2030.
2030? Okay, let's move into that. So I don't know if you can see the screen clearly for you to read on your end too. I can start it off, go through a few of these. So yeah, thanks for tuning in. This is Beyond Flat Earth here. We're going to expose and show you the supposed Agenda 2030, the Agenda 2021. They've had agendas for years. We've been following them, covering them, and this is just another one that we're going to add to the chalkboard of things that we need to look at. So let's get into this without further ado. Agenda 2030, if you can see what's on the screen here, the sustainable goals and all their governance and CBDCs and blockchain technologies, it is all being orchestrated and run by, yes, the Baphomet King. They call him Azazel. Moving on here, United Nations Agenda 2030 for what? Yes, their supposed New World Order. You can see the different layout of the different things we're going to be going through here, 1 through 17, but it says the 17, quote, sustainable development goals that make up Agenda 2030 essentially serves as the recipe for the coming technocratic New World Order. The UN plans to have nations to continue to impose new laws and initiatives upon their citizens. In an effort to achieve these goals, which they lump under, quote, sustainability, end quote. The Agenda 2030 is a ramp up from its predecessor, Agenda 21, as it aims to control everything, control all of the lands, water, energy, technology, production, information, animals, and all humans through AI, yes, believe it or not, 6G, blockchain, and RFID. Thus, the elite are setting the stage to enslave humanity under the rule of the Antichrist.
Yeah, so these are the goals that we've been hearing about for a while, that and this is a partial list of it, but this is part of their plan. That you can hear all the New World Order agents espousing it all the time. They'll show you within a TV show or a movie, and they'll say, see, this is what they plan on doing. But they actually do these things at the UN. They do it at the Paris Climate Agreement type things, G7 this and that, where they actually do get together and pass laws and work in certain objectives. And so the digital currency, the tracking through RFID, and all of this in the name of conservation of the planet, they say, right?
Yes.
It's climate change and protecting us from asteroids. These are the things that they use as boogeymen to get whatever agenda or goal through that they want.
Yes, and we've shown this week, we documented it. Oh, sorry, last week. We're in the new week now, I guess. It was Jacob Rothschild in an interview exposing and saying that, there's not one youth in the realm right now that isn't terrified that climate change is going to kill them or we're going to destroy the planet. He said it from his own mouth. He was basically frothing at the mouth as he was saying this. So let's get into this here. Agenda 2030, UN 2030 Agenda, goals 1 through 3. This is how the format's going to go. I'm going to do the first one, and then I'll hand it over to Jason. So here we are. It says, number 1, no poverty. All right, we've all been seeing these colors. We've all been seeing these squares. Now let's understand what they are. So what we are told, quote, end poverty in all its forms everywhere. What it possibly could mean: all will receive a digital universal basic income and identity on the blockchain. Wealth distribution from, yes, the rich to the poor, supposedly. The elimination of lower class. What we are told. Okay, so we're now moving on. That was number 1. No poverty. So they're trying to end poverty, but what they're going to do is just make everybody equally poor. Number 2, it says zero hunger. That's an interesting one. I got a coffee cup or a soup bowl, warm soup symbolism here. It says what we are told: end hunger, achieve food security, and improved nutrition and agriculture. Well, that sounds interesting, right? What are they going to do? They're going to end hunger? That's amazing, right? What it possibly means: more synthetic lab-grown frankenfoods, GMOs, and nanotech that, yes, infects and poisons us. Those with the RFID chip will be able to, yes, buy food, resulting in, quote, zero hunger, end quote. Those without it are going to be starving here. Number 3, and the last one of the first 3, it says good health and well-being. This is something that we should all be doing. We don't need the United Nations to tell us to be healthy. This is ridiculous, but here we are. It says here what we are told: ensure healthy lives and push well-being. That's good. What it possibly means in real terms is more jab production and propaganda for future planned demics to alter our, yes, poison us further. Biometric sensors to monitor the body, and medical history, yes, they're going to have it blockchained. So you're not going to be able to get rid of it. So this is just the 1 through 3 goals of the United Nations and the agendas of the 2030.
Well, isn't that just a perfect picture of socialism? That is socialism 2020, right? In a meme. And so it's got all the aspects. It's got your basic income, right? So everybody's going to get a universal basic income, but it's going to be delivered via digital, right? And you'll be able to eat or have access to non-GMO foods, right? If they allow you, right? Because what they are going to have is a social credit score with this whole system. Not everybody's just going to get the same amount of money. The people that they don't like are going to get less, and then they get to take care of your health. So they want to be the pure nanny state where they know everything about you, your mental health, your addictions, what you're into, and everything about your body. So they want to know how they can use you and maximize what they get out of you, because you're just gonna be a slave in this system. You're a slave.
Well, I mean, it's not that we aren't already slaves. You're going to be a more controlled slave. That's the problem. Taking cash away. Okay, we're getting on too far here. So do you want me to read one more, or do you want to do this one? Maybe I'll do one more and then I'll let you do a bunch. Here it says, is that okay?
Sure.
I'm trying to work on my teamwork skills here in my live stream, not interrupting and trying to be as professional as possible. And I don't need to say that out loud. My mind is talking out loud. Okay, UN 2030 agenda. This is the goals 4 through 6. What we are told versus what it possibly means. 4, quality education. That is a great thing we should hope for, right? What we are told. Ensure inclusive and equitable quality education and lifelong learning. Wow, that's nice of them. What it possibly actually means, it should say here: dumb down the education to indoctrinate, upskilling and reskilling for a new lifelong learning gig economy, as AI and robotics will replace many jobs. So what they want you to believe is that these technocratic nonsense people have the ability to create machines. The machines can't build anything. The machines are stupid. Well, I'm sorry, some are good. I don't want to be too mean to them. But the drywall one was a joke. It couldn't drywall a house. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, most of the stuff that you hear about the robots and all this stuff, it's all mind control. It's a bunch of people who come up with fake companies and then they get millions and billions of dollars. There's no robots. Like, they want to make everything automated, so you order from Amazon. And maybe you can go to a grocery store with the 2030 agenda thing and you won't have to go through a cash. You just put your stuff into your cart and bag it and leave. They just withdraw your CBDC. That's the way that they're going to do it. But there's a lot of fear porn I wanted to point out real quick about AI, right? So they are going to they have already completely dumbed down the entire population of the realm. It's beyond saving now. Everybody that fell for the whatever, I can't say it out loud, has absolutely no intelligence whatsoever in their heads. To think that you're not born healthy and that you can't go out in public breathing fresh air means that you've been successfully indoctrinated to the point where you don't have any intellectual capability of who or what or where you are. You just follow what the New World Order tells you to do.
The gig economy is something I find interesting because what that means right there is this is going to be much like union labor has become, where you just get a gig, where instead of being hired on full time with a company and being with them year to year, the company's only going to pick up the labor that they need for the job and then lay off. So gig economy is where you don't plan on being hired long term by anybody. They're just going to use you for what they can get out of you today, and then that's it.
Well, basically, me being a former union member of the 675, so you are basically just a number. And when they need the big guy that come and throw the drywall, he gets the job. But then what ends up happening is they form communities and groups and secret societies. And if you're not in those secret society groups, you don't get to stay steady. So the gig work and the union work is actually a super big trap. But good point, Jason. I've actually experienced that. 5, gender equality. Huh? Oh, that's interesting. What we are told, it says, gender equality and empower woman. Oh, what it possibly means, though. Replace human intelligence with AI to avoid incorrect judgments. Oh, which is crazy because a bot doesn't know right from wrong. It just knows exactly what it's been coded to do. Promote radical feminism, the trans sodomite agenda, and multiple genders. And teach women to have less or no kids. Abandon gender identity and promote transhumanism as the new gender. Did you want to comment before I move on to 6?
Sure. And one of the things that we've noticed is that the people promoting this radical feminism tend to be of the transgender gender. All right. So oftentimes these women that are pushing these radical stances for women aren't actually women. And so we see how this is an attack on real women. And we're absolutely against that. There are 2 genders. Right, male and female. Any animal that procreates through an egg and a sperm, right? There's just a male and a female. There's nothing else, and it's those 2 things that are necessary to procreate. So the whole quality education, number 4, they're doing everything they can to blur the lines of number 5, and it's gross.
I mean, great correlation on your part. I can't even add to that. It was so well said here. Number 6, clean water and sanitation. This is something that we need. What we are told, it says, ensure sustainable water management. Well, we live on a water realm. We need it managed. It says what it possibly means. Metals, fluoride, and nanotech in the water. Control and monitor all water systems. You're not allowed to have fresh water anymore in the new agenda 2030. All right. So did you want to read this one? This is goals.
Oh,
yeah. I'll go back. Sorry.
I just want to mention one thing about nanotech, right? We only recognize things that are measurable. So you can make things small, super small. If you're grinding metal, if you're sanding metal, you can have bigger shavings, and you can get smaller and smaller and smaller shavings until you get down to a super ultra fine dust. And then that's the smallest. It doesn't go smaller than that. You don't get to a size that is no longer visual, right? If it's no longer visual, it's not there. You can't measure it. If you can't see it, it's make-believe. So there's real things that can be put in water, metals, things like that can react in different ways. We're learning about the chemistry of metals and the oxidation and all these different types of properties. But as soon as they start talking about nanotech, understand that they're talking about nonsense, just like AI.
Yeah, very good point, right? And most of the stuff that they're trying to tell you is nanotechs, and that is poison. But we're not doctors, and we're not giving any medical information. If you want to read this one, brother, I can mute. Can you see it clearly, or if this isn't okay for you, just say.
I can see it.
Okay, good.
So this is goals 7 through 9. What we are told: ensure access to affordable, reliable, sustainable, and modern energy. What it possibly means: monitor all energy systems in homes and corporate buildings in real time. Cities and towns to institute blackouts to save on energy. This is really sad because, like we started out talking about, one of the avenues that we want to go into is talking about hydrogen and how that can be used. And so, all right, affordable, clean energy. The cleanest of all energies is hydrogen. When you combust it, it turns into water. And when you use a fuel cell and recombine it and produce electricity, guess what? You still get water out of the process. So it's the most abundant fuel that we have in the world. It's the most energy dense fuel that we have in the world. And the fact that it's not the most affordable, if we can give all these billions of dollars to Ukraine, and then the budget for progressing hydrogen is something like 10 or 20 billion dollars, doesn't even pair in comparison. Every single person should have a hydrogen storage system that they can use for their own electric, for their own heating, and for powering any vehicle that they want to use.
Well said. I think were you on 8, or I still believe you have a little bit left in 7 to continue?
No, 7. Do you want to comment on it? I figure each one of these we can sort of just comment on as we go through.
Oh yeah, that's probably a better flow. Basically everything that I see with their solutions is basically them taking away anything that's good. They're basically setting up blocks and gates. They're saying they're going to create affordable and clean energy, but what they're doing is they're going to block you from creating your own affordable and clean energy.
All right. 8. What we are told promotes sustainable economic growth, productive employment, and decent work. What it possibly means. Replace workers with robotics and AI. Connect workers to VR headsets, as the metaverse will be the future of work. You want to comment on this one first?
No, please go ahead.
All right. So the this robotics and AI, sure. But the economic growth, right now we are in a fiat currency where it's not backed by any precious metal or commodity. So the money has absolutely no value. They can print as much of it as they want. And because it's all based off of debt and they charge interest, they have to sustain economic growth. Otherwise the whole system collapses. It's a Ponzi scheme that is designed, it will eventually collapse. And so that's the reason why they plan on going to the digital currency, is because the system that they have right now is unsustainable. So it's nonsense to think that we're going to continue the petrodollar and the United States' dollar is going to continue to have its value against other world currencies. That's nonsense.
Yeah. Just to add a little bit more into that is they invent money. They just print it into creation on a computer screen. They just added a number there and then put it to places that they want it. They can shut things down. They could cancel anything. There's no too big bank or no too business big to fail, because they print the money. And Jason, you alluded to it, there's nothing backing it. So the whole economy is built off of a usury inflation of nothingness system. So it's doomed to failure anyways. It's set up to benefit the elite. This is just them further enslaving us with the new agenda. They're taking us to the next level of this system.
Yeah. 9. What we are told, build resilient infrastructure, promote industrialization and innovation. What it possibly means, use robotics and AI to fully automate infrastructural projects and innovation, making people useless in the industries. So there's a number of things that they can automate and get rid of as far as people's jobs are concerned. There's a lot of things that they can't. But one of the things that we see is they're never building a better infrastructure for us. If we were to have control of the government, we would have established a maglev train from West Coast to East Coast that was taxpayer funded, that you could just ship anything for free from one side of the country to the other. And we'll do it with renewable energy or over unity type devices that you could really boost an economy with something like that. But no, they don't build our infrastructure for it to better us in the future. It's only for them, right?
Yeah. You could turn the megalith train into a power production plant itself.
Mm-hmm.
right? So the more people that use it, the more power you make. It's everything in this reality is just how you think about it and how you look at it and how much of belief that you can do what you want to do that you have is what manifests it. Are you at the end of 9 now?
Yeah.
Let's continue. I think we can continue with you to read another one if you would like.
Sure.
Thank you.
Goals 10 through 12. What we are told: reduce inequality within countries. What it possibly means: bring developed countries down to near poverty level while raising poor nations slightly above poverty level. Set up short-term gig jobs in a race to the bottom economy. So equality, yeah, everybody's equal at the bottom rung. So not a huge fan of capitalism in its purest, because it can be rather raw and dog eat dog. But this whole thing here is socialism. They make everybody equal the same way Common Core made everybody equal. All right, just dumb everything down to a level where everything is purely mediocre across the board. Number 11. What we are told: make cities safe and sustainable. What it possibly means.
Well, I'm sorry.
All right, I didn't think you were adding something.
Well, I did want to quickly chime in at set up short-term gig jobs in a race to the bottom of the economy. Yeah, that was further alluding to the point that you made, is that's the way that they have the unions already run. So this would just be a one world union. Would it be the workforce union? You'd be labeled, here's your workforce union number. Welcome to the, right?
Yeah, so the race to the bottom. So now all of a sudden, as so many people are unemployed and they're just looking for short-term gigs, now all of a sudden becomes cutthroat. Who's willing to take the job for the least amount? And so somebody comes along and undercuts you and undercuts you and undercuts you. And the person that eventually gets the job does it for practically nothing. So the work gets done for the person at the very cheapest price, and it's not even enough to sustain the person that got the job. And so it really does become a race to the bottom.
Yes. Was that, you were through 11?
No, I can do 11 now.
Okay.
Make cities safe and sustainable. Move everyone into smart cities with a social credit score system. Everything connected via blockchain, 5G, 6G, IoT, IOB, and AI. Constant surveillance and gun control. So, of course, it's 5G, 6G, 7G, 8G, 9G. That'll never end. I don't know what the IoT and IOB is, but I just read how they created a chip that can actually handle the full bandwidth of the internet, the entire internet, all the bandwidth per second. One chip can handle it all. Now, they don't have all the stuff around it to have it connected to everything, but they're eventually will, right? So they're always increasing the amount of bandwidth that they can get through the pathways that they have right now. And the more data that they can pass, the more surveillance that they can have. They can know where you are down to the centimeter soon, right?
Yeah, and just to quickly allude to something in the chat, I don't have enough time to continue to chat. You are witnessing a presentation that Jason and I have put together. Please, if anybody has any thoughts that they'd like to add to the chat, due to the reason that the chat stays up as a part of this podcast, please stay on topic. If too many things are done in a spammy way, you will be, the comments will be deleted and you will be blocked. This is our presentation spot here. It's not a free for all. You are in our classroom. Please sit down and be polite as possible when chilling out with us. That's the only thing we ask. We're easygoing people. Let's continue on with the teaching. I do not want to have to go through that too many more times.
12. Ensure sustainable consumption and production patterns. Food and water is rationed based off of social credit score. Punish those who throw away food. Consumption of frankenfoods and GMOs.
Well, this is one I want to chime in on.
Yeah.
So this is the biggest fear for me, because I've had all my social media sites taken Facebook, YouTube. I guess Twitter's left me alone, but so go figure. That's beginning to become WeChat soon. So what they've already started to do with PayPal too is fine people if they've determined that you're speaking mis or mal or disinformation. So this whole entire system that they're saying responsible consumption and production is being tied together with basically you as a citizen just out in the public society too. It's not about your food and water. It's about, how much you eat, right? So I guess the overweight people, but I don't know. I don't know how they're going to achieve all this, but this is what they want.
Yeah, and it's not just GMOs. Like they decide things like they want us to eat bugs, right? So then they have bug farms and make food out of bugs, and they want to feed that bug food to us.
And what did we find that's in all the bugs?
Protein that ends up being toxic to the human body.
Super toxic. And the fact that animals and birds, they have different stomachs than we do, and they're able to process it without that damaging them. But we'll continue on. Do you want me to read one?
Sure.
Okay, good job. Thank you very much. And I'm going to stop at the end of each one too, and see if we both have anything to say like you brought to the table here. It says UN 2030 Agenda, goals 13 through 15. What we are told versus what it possibly means. 13, they're saying climate action. We've got an eyeball with a globe sphere Earth in the center of it, right? So right off the bat, we could see this as mind control. This is what you've been programmed to believe since you were born. It's not true. You don't live on a sphere. They would actually have a real picture of it here, not a graphic. It says here, what we are told. Take urgent action on climate change. What it possibly means. Create a circular economy, both natural and man-made disasters, to be blamed on climate change. Thus, keeping draconian measures in place. Carbon and footprint taxes. So my quick point takeaways here is the carbon and footprint taxes is one of the most ridiculous things I've ever heard in my life. The carbon is an abundancy everywhere. One volcano creates more carbon than all of the vehicles combined. So, and the other quick topic before I ask you for your thoughts is they're leaving out the end times disasters that are spoken about in the scriptures. This is the real agenda, I believe, behind number 13, is to hide the coming destruction of this entire realm. Jason, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, well, as we're going through the hydrogen study, one of the things that I'm picking up on is there's a lot of talk about carbon, and it's always in the form of carbon dioxide. All right, so it's the gas emission that the climate change people seem to make the biggest fuss about. They're not talking about the carbon so much that is the trees, right? So they're talking about the gas carbon dioxide and the stuff that they put in fizzy water, right?
Yes. We drink it.
It's also the stuff that the plants eat. All right. So carbon dioxide is part of the photosynthesis, where carbon dioxide and water combining together makes the sap for a plant that it lives off of, the sugars. So it is the real plant food. Now we can give nitrogen and stuff like that to super boost them, but without the carbon dioxide, guess what? The plants die. So the more carbon dioxide that you emit, the more that they have to breathe. And guess what their byproduct is? They convert the carbon dioxide to oxygen. Something good for us. So it always grows in the same amount. So the more carbon dioxide produced, the more the plants eat it, and the more they make oxygen. It's absolutely ludicrous to try to eliminate the carbon dioxide, because that would kill us, right? The plants need it to breathe in order to make the oxygen that we need to breathe.
Yes. Perfectly said. Did you have more points to add on 13?
Oh, that's good.
So the quick takeaways, again, circular economy. They want to just ruin the economy and just make it all, communistic. Natural and man-made disasters is they're trying to hide the coming destruction of the realm. They've got in place, it's the climate change. It's due to us being bad citizens of the earth that it's getting hotter. And Archimedes debunked the whole sea level rising thing. They don't even know how to refer to their own science. Moving on, 14, it says life below water. Yes, it is important to understand the waters below, right? And the waters above, the ones that rain down on us and the waters below. So here it says what we are told, conserve and sustainable use of the oceans. What it possibly means. Monitor and restrict access to open seas, lakes, and rivers with sensors and satellites. I don't know about the satellites, but they'll have something, and punish those found guilty. Feed people, genetically modified farm-bred frankenfish. So the quick takeaways here, Jason, if you want to go first, if you'd like.
So the farm bred, it as opposed to wild caught. A wild fish just gets to swim around and eat the natural things in its environment, and in a farm bred fish just gets fed its pellets or whatever it's being fed, and so you're limited. It ends up being a fattier fish. You end up picking up things from within that farm food that they're feeding it, that get higher quantities of the things that you don't want. And so we want fresh fish that aren't just raised off of pellets, and they want to take that away from us. So Chilean sea bass is one of the sweetest delicacies I've ever had in my life, and they want to take that kind of stuff away. They just want to give us our tilapia fillets that come out of a massive pond that all they do, it's like the farm raising of chickens. It's gross, it's not humane, and we want our fresh food.
So for me, the key takeaways is anytime that you take anything away from its natural way that it lives, you destroy what's good. So their genetically modified frankenfoods are just nothing but toxic. Sure, you'll get sustenance from them, but what they want to do is emaciate your intelligence through actually destroying your brain. So when you're not properly nutritioned, your body actually goes and eats your nerves. It cannibalizes itself, and that's what the whole vegan agenda, and there's a bunch of other agendas were constructed with their poor food pyramids. And basically what they want to do is, if you've ever watched anything to do with Gaza and the Israel, the supposed promised land, right? The promised people, the chosen are, there's a whole bunch of people there that aren't allowed to fish. They're not allowed to grow. They've been under the Agenda 2030 for 10 years. I've been covering it. This entire time I've been covering it. So that's basically what I have to add. Should I move on now?
Sure.
15, life on land, on the islands, right? We've been discussing here. We live on an island realm. It says what we are told, protect, restore, and promote sustainable use of terrestrial ecosystem. Wow, okay. They're going to control where you get to move further. It's not bad enough now that to cross a border that they deem is real, that's an imaginary line that they drew on an imaginary map that they made. You're not allowed to cross that unless you give them money and go through their hoops. What they're now trying to say is they're now going to keep you away from the forests, rivers, and lakes in the realm. You're going to be strictly held to your mega city, to your FEMA region. Right? And this is absolutely disgusting. Jason, did you want to say anything before I continue?
Yeah, the government just keeps on picking up land and saying it's theirs and you can't have access to it. All right. And they just keep penning people in. They don't want people to be able to go off the grid. They want everybody confined to the cities. And so they're just going to geofence these areas and say that they're off limits. You can't go to them anymore. So big public parks, big national parks. No more. Just go back to your city, your concrete jungle.
Yeah, and what they want to do is then take away your ability to drive, because they're never going to come up with human driverless vehicles. It's a crack pipe thought from the New World Order. They're nowhere near having the capability of sensing the environment the way that humans do. So they're going to take away your car, because if they were able to put you in a driverless car, they could program it not to leave the megacity. And that's exactly what they want, but they don't have that technology yet. Unfortunately, their dumbass scientists can't invent it. Right? So what we have is basically the control and the lockdown of everything. So we'll just finish off this one. It says what it possibly means. We gave you what we thought first. It says force people off rural lands, right? No more farms and in the country where everybody should live. Ranches, forests, and farms into, the smart cities. Restrict and minimize travel to natural land habitats and forests. So they think that they know better about taking care of this beautiful earth than any other citizen. The people in the United Nations are saying we have the ownership over the dirt, the trees, the birds. They say they own it all, and this is what they're going to do. They're going to force people away from them. And if you have a good enough social credit score system, you're probably going to get to go into those areas, right? And this is the most disgusting thing. This is why we need a supernatural intervention. What are your thoughts, Jay?
No, we just talked about it.
Okay, I'll move on. If you're good, no problem. Great. Let's move on here. Agenda goals 16 and 17. What we are told versus what it possibly could mean. 16, peace, justice, and strong institutions. They got the dove with the leaf. Isn't this a Noah symbol?
Yeah, totally. With the justice.
With the gavel. With the hammer. You know who has the hammer? YD has the band Hammer. Bust them up. Anybody that's off topic, you can get hammered out of here. So it says here, promote peaceful societies and inclusive institutions for sustainable development. Oh, that sounds so sweet. What it actually means, it says only those with the RFID chip and a digital ID passport with biometric data on a blockchain can be a part of the peaceful society. Whoops. There's the bell ringer of it all. Jason, do you want to comment?
Here's our requirement to have peace. You have to be our peer slave. It's awful. Yeah, it's
the wild animal. All right,
the prison.
The 777s.
That is
minus the 311s. That's prison, right? Social credits will be used to get the population to obey the New World Order and punish unwanted behavior. Those who do not comply will be imprisoned or have all benefits on the blockchain, turned off. We remember with that show? Sometimes we get bored. We try not to associate in worldly content. We're trying to create content here on this team. But there was a show on Amazon that caught my attention. It was a show where a guy was projected. I think he died and his rich girlfriend put him into a virtual world to keep him alive. And while he was in that world, what ended up happening was he ran out of credits. So he got put into this virtual, insane asylum room. And anytime he wanted to do anything on his phone, right, he couldn't. It was locked out. He was shut down. Do you remember that show?
Yeah, he was out of credits. That was a good one.
Right?
I don't remember the name of it, though.
But that's exactly what they're going to do. And the way they do it is they broadcast it through their television programming. And they do it with figure rates, and they do it with music, and they have a whole entire barrage of an attack against people. And it's really what they want. The Harares of the world and the Klaus Schwabs are terrified that men actually just want to have farms and make big families and live happily on their own. They're terrified of people not wanting to go along with the Azazel agenda because they're going to lose whatever he promised them. Right? Obviously, these people are working because somebody upstairs told them, hey, if you do this for us, you're going to be good forever. Right? What else could push something to create this? You tell me, please.
No, I got caught.
Okay, is it men's wicked hearts that would create a system like this? Where if you don't have, remember we just saw not that long ago, and I don't want to start Obama stuttering here. Okay, we just saw not that long ago in the supposed World War II where they had to have their documents. Show us your papers, right? This was pre the internet and technology, which we've had this crazy boom. Right? How can people have gone into taught in history class and mind controlled in the public schools that it was wrong for people to go around asking those people to show papers of their citizenship and which race they adhered to. But now we're going straight into it's good. This is what the world needs, is that only those with RFID chips, right, and a digital ID passport with biometric data on a blockchain can be a part of peaceful society. How did we go from one being wrong and this one being good? Is my rhetorical question. I can't seem to understand it. Did you have anything to say? And I'll move on. I'm ranting much longer than my shift here.
Yeah, I just keep on thinking that it's going to take a big event to make that transition. That people are going to have to come running, wanting it, because it just doesn't seem like the type of thing that people willingly will accept. Unless if there's some sort of great catastrophe, right?
Yeah, completely. So we'll go on to 17. I'll try not to get too long of a shift here. Partnerships for the goals. It says what we are told. Strengthen the means of implementation and revitalize global partnerships for sustainability. What it possibly means, in order to implement all 17 SDGs
and maintain global partnerships for the goals, a number of key technologies need to be further pushed on society, such as, here we go, get your pen and paper out, take a screenshot. The CBDCs need to be put into action. Blockchain technology needs to be solidified as the main source of how they're going to keep everything stored, right? Not in some cloud. They want it on the blockchain, which is awfully funny because the fallen angels are in blockchains. Continuing, CRISPR gene editing. This is a hoax. This isn't real. This is nonsensical dis and mal and misinformation made up by scientists that actually are learning to poison people. Moving on, AI monitoring sensors. They do want to have everything recorded, and the phones and everything are already doing that. AI and biometric facial recognition cameras. So they already have all that. They've long time ago. 5G is out. I don't know what it's going to do. It's not doing anything yet. 6G, we don't know anything about. When I finish reading this, we'll get Jason's take. Smart cities. Right? They've already started creating those. In Toronto, they've got huge projects they've been talking about for a long time. We have covered it. RFID chips. Now, this is the thing that is probably going to be the worst part of it all, is that everything that you are is going to be reduced down to something they're going to implant in your hand. And if they don't like you, they're just going to turn it off. I don't know what IoT and IOB, or if these are supposed to be cues. Continue. Go ahead.
IoT is Internet of Things. We had that
okay, thank you.
In the chat.
Thank you. So, excellent.
It must be Internet of Bees, right?
Beings?
Maybe.
I don't know. Maybe some of the person in the chat, was that the one we blocked? Well, we'll continue on here. Blessed Family?
No, Adam Wilson.
Okay. Yeah, Adam's definitely got interesting stuff to add. So just to finish this one off, it says robotics. They're trying to make robotics. They're trying, but they can't do it. Anyways, to fully control the realm. So that's a pretty big one, right?
Yeah, so technology. They want to take as much of the people out of things as possible and make everything trackable and IP addressable. Computers can manage big numbers pretty well, where if you were trying to manage, millions of people through a human chain of command, not so easy. So they want everything. Right now, the phones, right? So your phone's got a front-facing camera. Your face is biometrically tagged. That is connected to a file that they have on you as far as your social credit scores is concerned.
Oh, we got it.
And they have plans. They have plans for how they want to deal with people that are friendly towards their organization, the New World Order, and those that are not friendly towards it. Gross.
Yeah, completely. Oh, that was way too loud. Forgive me for that. Jason, why don't you read this meme?
Environmental Sustainable Governance Scores, your ESG. An ESG score was created by the IMF to measure how well companies follow the UN's 17 SDGs. This score is used by banks and investors to determine whether or not they should invest into companies. Thus, an ESG score is another method the elite use to force corporations to follow the plans of the UN and WEF.
So let's drill in here. This is a big one. So the ESGs, it's hard to get your mind around even saying, I don't like environmental sustainable governance. I've had a hard time. We've been teaching on this for over a year now. I want to talk to whoever came up with this. I want them to come sit down with me and I want to slap them upside the head. It doesn't roll off the tongue. What we're looking at here, if you don't already know, this is the social credit score system. And they're trying to hide it by saying it's social governance, right? They're trying to mess it up with these big fancy words, environmental sustainable governance. What they're trying to say is we want to control everything, right? This is the conglomerate of everything that we just saw and went through. And I'm trying to get zoomed in here. And then we have what we just went through was 1 through 17, and they have it all, and they've got the color codes. They put a lot of time and effort into this. It's ridiculous. I hope it burns. But this is what they're trying to do to control everything. The 17 SDGs, the social. What does this one stand for? I don't even know. See, none of this is done right. I think it's done in a way that they're trying to confuse people into thinking that it's good. But what this is a bunch of rich people saying we're going to control everything now. We're going to literally take control of everything. You're not going to have the government of Canada and the government of the United States. It's going to be one realm controlled under everything. One app to rule them all. It's going to be WeChat, Twitter. Everybody's going to live on it. You heard Elon Musk. They got WeChat. Everybody does everything. So the only way they're going to be able to enforce their environmental social governance is if everybody's on the One World app doing the One World thing. This is the biggest thing that I'm worried about, is that there's not enough individualism anymore. And right down to the point where they have people arguing over, the color of the shade of their avatar suits. Beyond freedom. We need to rise above this for freedom. But did you want to add to this one?
Yeah, so this meme was talking about how companies actually get scores, all right, for how they're performing, their ESG score. And so you can see by something like this, a company like PayPal and what they're doing right now, finding people that speak out against the New World Order. This would be get a really high score for something like that. Now, things like Twitter, when Elon Musk gets a board that determines what's allowable and what's not allowable, I'm sure he's going to be keeping his ESG score in mind. He's going to be doing something that scores real high for him, right? His ESG.
Yeah, it's crazy. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't flow. Their entire plan is just nonsense. What it is their way of saying, we're going to control everything under a one world order. And this is it. And you can obviously see them pushing the agenda. I don't know. Is it coming from the supposed Moshiach that they say is here? I don't know. There's a couple more here to go through. Let me put this back down to its original size. And then we're going to do a music break. And then we're going to come back with some Christian memes. And anybody that's not interested in hearing those, you can go at that point. Here, this one says a circular economy. We heard this brought up a bunch of times, but not really broken down too exclusively. So it says here, in order to achieve Agenda 2030, the elite seek to shift nations from a linear economy to a circular economy in order to decarbonize society and get to what they want is this word net zero. Since the elite view us as slaves, yes, they do, cattle, right? This will literally mean, quote, you will own nothing and be happy, end quote. As everything in society will be shared and recycled to maintain, quote, sustainability, end quote. So if we drill in a little closer here before we ask for thoughts on this sustainable or the circular economy, we get the linear economy. It says materials in a linear economy create waste after use. So this is bad. What is a circular economy and why does it matter? They say, well, the circular economy is imperative. That's what that quote says. Right? So what we have is them saying that materials in a circular economy are used, collected, and reused after each use. So they're talking about being these great recyclers, right? Which is basically, we're in a realm that just naturally recycles everything all the time, including your avatar suit. What is it? Every 7 years, all of your skin has recycled and turned on to new skin, right? Jason, what did you want to say?
Yeah, this type of recycling, it's got me scared. To me, what I'm hearing is that you'll be given the people that are conforming, right, and playing along and have nice social credit scores. They'll be given their one pair of new underwear, and when that pair of underwear is wearing out, it's going to be passed on to somebody that's got a lower credit score, and they'll get to use it. And then when it wears out even further, it'll be passed on to a lower level. So they're not going to throw anything away. They're going to reuse everything, and only the worst of the scraps will fall to the people at the bottom, right?
Yeah, I couldn't have said it any better.
Or grosser.
Or grosser. Let's get on to this last one here before we do a music break. It says, fail. I need to put it back to its regular size. And just bear with us as we get everything back into a good flow. It says the UN 2030 Agenda, 17 goals to enslave humanity under the New World Order of, yes, it says here, the Antichrist. They got it right. And that guy that got blocked, he was constantly spamming this number. Here it is, buddy, if you're still watching. This is their goal. It's obvious.
Hey, isn't that the flat earth up there?
The flat earth map in plain sight, right? Hidden in plain sight. No, all you have is this here sphere squished. That's it. And the outside has been taken away. Antarctica is what was been the bottom of the sphere. But anyways, continue. What are your thoughts here on this one?
I hate the New World Order. It's my number one passion to fight against them. They're trying to have this absolute control in the world and in the most draconian, absolute top draconian type way. And it's nonsense. I really just want to be able to live a normal life where
Free.
the things that I make I can keep, and I don't have them all taxed away and all this. I have to have a license to do this and that.
It's not okay. The guy down the street competing against you and his buddies at the bank just give him enough money to put you out of business. That's not okay for you.
A border that I can't cross, right?
Yeah, you can't go over that spot there. You were born over there. What you think? But if you have a good enough social credit score, maybe they'll let you. And if you take enough of their harmakia, maybe they'll let you. Okay, let's get into a song break.
They lose.
Yeah, we're going to see who wins and loses in the end. So let's get into this song break. This is a remix. This is a way back from the 80s. And let's get into it, and we'll talk after this. Let's go. Boys of Summer by the Lightning Kids. What a great new song. We absolutely have to give huge credit and a huge thanks to all the entertainment and content creators in the realm. See, we have a small but powerful team here. We call it a mega or a mastermind group. There's only a few of us, but we absolutely search the realm for truth, music, and art, and we combine them all together anywhere we go, whether it be Awake Souls, The Limitless, Beyond Flat Earth. You're going to get content where we search the realm to become our own radio stations, because the New World Order radio stations suck. And we absolutely take it very seriously here to bring forth good music that you're not going to hear, because you know what? It's just going to heap more coals upon the censorship of the New World Order. And we're documenting it. And a huge shout out to everybody on the team. It's a small but powerful mastermind group. And one of the staples of this team is new music.
Absolutely. No, I think that was Don Henley on the original. And I don't think he was a one-hit wonder, but by far that was the best song in my opinion. That takes me back.
Yeah, right. It has such a nostalgia to it. I remember just me and my mom singing that song. Right, YD in the chat. Like, that's one of the greatest things about doing this podcast stuff that we do, is that we're able to share music. For me, that's, what better could we ever? I've never dreamed of having an opportunity to do what I'm doing. And I just give thanks to the mastermind team, all of you, each and every one of you. And I know it's only a few, but you guys have no idea how powerful you are. I wish if we could all just step up and continue to manifest and through our intentions, continue to do better, try harder, get cleaner, be more able to create. Everybody, we need to become more builders. I'm super excited. We haven't done an early podcast in a long time, and I've been trying to get one in. And it just so happened that Jason and I, we used to be big football fans. So American football, not soccer for all you Europeans and most of the rest of the realm.
Although we did watch a little bit, not European, but soccer. We watched a little bit of that today too.
Yeah. Well, it's, we understand now that the sports here are super rigged, right? Super rigged. So we kind of just watch it for, we watch to call out the hoaxes, how it's fixed. That's our enjoyment now. Wow. So our two teams are playing later, so we decided to go a little bit early, because we're going to watch and
Buffalo.
see if, so I grew up in Toronto, and we're Canadian. We weren't allowed to have a team, even though we've got 8 million people in the mega city. We can support 2 NFL football teams. They won't let it happen because they got that imaginary border there. So for me, if you don't cheer for the closest team to you, it's like treason. Right. So I was a Buffalo Bills fan my entire life, and it was a painful experience. They're fixing the games now to make them do better. Obviously, they want to try to generate more money, and they suck Toronto with that team anyways. So Jason's Green Bay. So the two teams are playing. They destroyed your team. Your team was good. You had the best offense in the league by far last year. Now you're like the worst offense in the league.
We know it's all scripted, but tonight we're interested to see how the script reads out, because we'll get
we catch the announcers. They've got the script. They say the lead ups to the plays and everything that they're scripting, and we enjoy laughing at it. If you guys want to know the truth, I used to be a crazy hockey fan. I called all the radio stations. I was known in my whole city. Everyone knew who I was until I started saying that Earth was flat and all this and that. I got banned. I got blocked from calling any radio station. But anyways, let's get into the content. I'm super excited today. Everybody now, let's take a deep breath. Let's bring a little vulnerability to the podcast. I need to calm down. Forgive me for rushing. I just chugged the big coffee. I want to make sure that I do this part of the section right. So what we have on the screen here is a meme that Jason made, or a thumbnail meme. It says Christian memes. So what we have here is Moses, right, with his staff, and he's got the tablets, because the meme is that Moses was actually the first one to use a tablet. All right.
Yeah, downloading from the cloud.
Thank you very much. So what he's holding here, it says Agenda 2030 on here, and then we have the Sustainable Developmental Goals and Governance System on this side. And I just wanted to say that though the spirit of Moses may dwell amongst us, this has been fulfilled. Let's continue. So this first one says, I am a Christian, and I'm not ashamed of it. And when I say Christian, this means Christ-like. Okay? If you're not exemplifying or showing compassion and love and doing the things that Christ did, standing up for freedom, you are not a Christian. I'm not talking about what you might think on the other side of the screen what a Christian is. I'm saying I believe that I am a true Christian, and I will stand devout to it. You could kill me. You will never get me to denounce it. Jason, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, it's a badge of honor. We're not talking about the brick and mortar Christians that say they go to church on Sunday and give their tithe or whatever they're giving. We're talking about the person that in a crowd is, when somebody starts making fun of a Christian or Christians, stands up for them, says, "Oh, that's the truth." All right. And if they want to start talking about some nonsense, how there is no God, or, they're an atheist, whatever, engage, step up and start defending the truth that And so don't be ashamed. Just take it as an opportunity to show everybody what you got.
Yeah, well, and what a great spot for me to interject here. If anybody's been following along, the Jaron channel, which Jason covers, I don't watch it, but Jason puts it on. So I heard him spewing a bunch of nonsense, and Jason formally has emailed Jaron. Jaron has been out challenging Christians and trying to say that he's going to change their beliefs. Well, Jason has thrown in an email. We'll see if Jaron responds. If he's not a coward, he's willing to defend his beliefs. We're willing to have a conversation. We don't have to call it a debate. What were the words? I don't want to per diem. What did you say? Paraphrase.
It was a rather benign thing, but so he was taking a swipe at during a call-in show at the Father. He says YHWH, which I give him props and credit for, because there's so many shows out there that'll call him YHVH, but at least he got that right. I was impressed about that. But he's trying to run on, like uncontested, that he overstands Christians and that it's stupid to believe in the creator from the Bible. And so I sent him an email saying, hey, we've debated and talked about the shape of the earth. Now let's talk about who created it. And so I did it in a non-threatening type way. Wanted to see if I would get a reaction from him. I may start leaning on him if I don't get a reaction to get a reaction. So he'll either end up accepting the challenge, which would be great. We can have a totally civil discussion about this, or he can look like a coward for backing away from talking to real Christians. Right?
Yeah. So here,
it's an open challenge for you, me, the two of us. It doesn't have to be a debate. It can be a conversation too.
And so just so people understand, is what guys like Jaron do is set up fake ass Christians and then sit there and argue with them for years, never actually delving into a conversation with someone who truly believes and has knowledge and understanding. They set up things so that they can win. The best way to defeat your enemy is to become the leader of that team. And don't you be fooled if you don't think all of them do it. Moving on. Get me going with Jaron. This one says, she asked, if religion isn't the path to the creator, right? What is? It's a good question, right, Jason?
Yeah. So how anybody learns that they're on a flat plane and doesn't next try to figure out who created it, I don't even understand. How would a person go through that process and not start asking that question? It's obvious once you know that you're on a plane that you have a creator. Shouldn't that be the next search, the next endeavor? Shouldn't that be where all your attention is focused until you have a clear answer?
Yeah. Why are you here? What put you here? Aren't these the most important questions?
Yeah. Solid Tank says, thankful that we didn't stop until he let us on his show a while back. Otherwise, I would never have found you. So yeah.
Probably the
reason why Jaron wouldn't want to let us back, because we can have sane, rational conversations and talk about evidences that are discernible and witnessable by everyone. And it doesn't have to be a fight. And so, yeah, we would like the opportunity to have that conversation with him. The question is can we get him to do it? So he has to believe in his heart that he's capable of defeating us in a conversation about whether or not we should believe in the creator of the Bible or not. And we'll see whether or not he feels he has the confidence to do that.
Yeah, well, my last interaction was with Jaron. I was sharing 4K quality spiritualism, just spiritual teachings through memes. And I was sharing them in his group to try to lift the knowledge base up in there for anybody that might be interested in learning more, maybe trying to look inward, right? It had nothing to do with scriptures. And he got me put in Telegram jail for spam and blocked me. And that was what Jaron said. I was spamming his group trying to get popular. So that's my ending of Jaron. I want to go on to read what this actually says here. And hopefully maybe Jaron got alerted or something and he's watching. This is interesting. I want him to pay close attention to this. It says, Yahawah's true religion is in your own body and soul. He created it. Anything you create or anyone else says anything to you that they create will never compare to his creation, which is you. You and what you can't see, what you truly are, is your soul. Right? Like I said, the tree roots, once exposed, the tree dies. You too have roots that you cannot see. That's your soul. It says you go to church within you, not outside. The moment you go outside of self to a place Yahawah never sent you, then there will be divisions. Just like there is today, you see multiple religions, multiple churches within each religion, and they're all divided because it's a house divided but on itself will never stand. And so what they've done is created nothing but divisions. The scriptures was a guidebook to read. Okay? A spiritual relationship is between you and Yahawah in your heart. You want to call them source. You want to call it the mother and father earth. Whatever it is that you want to connect to is what you choose to identify your belief systems in. I choose to find what has the most evidence, and then I want to be as concise and clear about who I serve and why it is that I serve them. And that's what I do. And I'm telling everyone here that's tuning in now, you will never find a true path to the Creator through going to any building. Ever. It's never in the scriptures was it ever told that this is the only way. They were a guidebook just to read, to get intelligence and to understand history. What real true spiritualism is done between you and your prayers, your face to the floor, however you pray, meditate, this, that, chant, om, this, so many different things. The truth is it's inside you, right? When the spirit of Yahawah moved upon the face of the waters and Yahawah said, let there be light, it was his voice that spoke life into creation. And it is his voice that speaks through me too. You do not search without when Yahawah will always be found within your own heart. Why do you think Christ was constantly praying, going off on his own? You know, they were nosy. The apostles, the disciples followed him around everywhere he went. They learned their lessons for doing things that they shouldn't have done. But what they saw was he was constantly in conversation within his own heart. Where do you think all the answers that you seek for come from? If he created your soul, he will speak to you there. Anything that you create or anyone else creates will always just be a shadow to what is true. So that's what I wanted to say about this meme. What do you think, Jay?
The going to church. So we'd mentioned the 501c3s, the brick and mortar churches. That's not real Christianity. So as soon as you go to a building like that, let's talk about the inherent problem. So does that building represent the full truth of the Creator, right? The structure itself. Do you have to go to that building, that architecture, those pews? Does it have to be that minister? Does it have to be, is it in the town that you live in, right? So all these factors regarding a church, you're never going to get the full potential of the truth. So we keep on letting everybody know that communion doesn't take place in a specific building somewhere. It takes place at your favorite tree. It takes place at a creek. It takes place on a hilltop. It takes place in all these different places where you actually get to commune with the Father in his creation, naturally, not tainted, there's not an image on the wall of Christ bleeding. There's not with thorns all over his head. There's not a certain steeple. There's none of these things are facets of true worship. That true worship takes place within your heart. And so going to church is a spiritual state. It's not a physical, you get in the car and go there type thing.
Yeah, no, it's not. It's not. It's done inside your heart, right? And then outwardly. So there's two ways to tell who's who. One, how do they take care of themselves? It's how they love themselves. And then how do people outwardly love others? Right? That is what the true Christian is. If you look at Christ, he washed the feet of the people that were following him. Think about that. They didn't have the technology and shoes and everything that we have today. Right? He touched the lepers. Anybody that was sick, he didn't care. He went to them and embraced them. That is what a Christian does, right? And in the face of all evil, stands up and still speaks the truth. And you don't go to church to learn that. It can't be taught in a church. None of this can. Like I said, the scriptures are a guidebook to the history of what took place. You want to understand the kings and the lineages and the sons and the daughters and all the people all the way back to Adam. It's all there. That's what it is.
The churches are where the divisions take place. Right?
Yes, they were.
This group says you have to go to a church that has a steeple, and then this church says you have to go to a church that has a dome. All right, and all of a sudden you have divisions. This group has to kill that group because they're not in the right type of building or whatever anymore.
And it goes back to the law, which originated with "Thou shalt not eat of this tree." It's when the law was introduced, and no one was saved from it. But what we did understand is that Christ's path freed us from it. And we are to be like him because in the millennial reign in the kingdom, the great city, right, everyone is going to be righteous. So if you don't start doing it now, you're not going to get in. Let's move on here. It says, knowing Yahawashai exists, but choosing to remain lost is like knowing how to swim, but choosing rather to drown.
Powerful meme. That right there, take a screenshot, somebody, because it is a perfect comparison. It's a perfect comparison, and it makes it absurd to think that a person wouldn't try to swim. But still, there's people that know that there's a creator and make no effort to have that connection with the creator. Crazy.
And they want to ridicule and deny and mock those that do know and do have that connection, that exemplify it and show it through intelligence and love. See, that's the thing. Everybody just wants to yell at the scriptures and point fingers at Yahawashai because of the Old Testament, not understanding anything. They don't understand anything. They haven't even read the books. And the ones that have, when they look at the words on the page, they already have a mindset that they don't like the creator of the scripture. So everything that they read is basically viewed in a negative light. So you have to have an unbiased opinion to be able to absorb the knowledge. And what you end up finding is that there's so much knowledge in the scriptures, how to be healthy, how to be righteous, how to be successful, how to defeat Azazel himself and the New World Order. It's in there. So let's keep going here. This one says, in a twisted world, people think Christianity is the religion of the Bible. It doesn't say that anywhere in the scriptures. It is the religion of man-made doctrines. People going around saying this is what the scripture means, telling you in their churches and their buildings. It's not scripture, though. Christianity has nothing to do with the Bible. Nothing. Christianity is how you live your life, how you treat yourself, how you love yourself first, and then how you love other people secondly. And through loving yourself, you love the Father because he made you. And when I say Father, it's likened unto the way the simulation works. Humans get stuck inside understanding how this place works, how there's genders and this and that, and a male and a female. But ultimately, we're all spirit. We're all made of light. And that's the thing that's being flipped and twisted by the gross Azazel team. But Christianity, just to take it back on topic, has nothing to do with the book of the Bible. Or the Bible is just 66 books. They invented this word. It doesn't even exist. The old scriptures didn't have a beginning or an end. They didn't have verse and chapter numbers. There were no periods. Right? People don't understand. All of this has been twisted. And, it's worked for a long time, but it's not working anymore. Go ahead, Jason.
I feel like this is a meme that could get lost in semantics if we weren't careful.
Did I not outline it?
Well, so Christianity, it's a word that we use a lot. So to say that it has nothing to do with the Bible could be a little bit of a trip up.
Okay, here, let me I'm interrupting you because I understand what you're trying to say. So if I was someone who was a Christian, okay, what do you think is more important? That I stand up with a Bible and read to you verses from the book, or have that person think in their mind, oh, that person must be a scripture, without me having to say a verse ever? And you want to ask me why I don't think Christianity has anything to do with the Bible? Is because anyone who holds the Bible up and tries to read it is not a true Christian. It's through the way that you live your life. Everyone's been indoctrinated to think that the scriptures, the 66 books, is everything. There's over 300. And it's not just there. The spirit of truth flows through everything. It's not shoehorned into 66 books. Christianity is a way of life. It's the way of the future, and it's the way of everlasting life. It's about freedom. It's not about the 66 books. Now, you can find the true path to Christianity through those books. It's the guidebook to it. So yes, it is intrinsically tied to the book, the Bible, the 66 books, but it is also completely severed in your ability to actually do Christianity. It has nothing to do with you holding the Bible.
Yeah, great point. Great point. I just, for clarity's sake, semantically speaking, the word Christian, all right, is a reference to followers of Christ. Now we know that they've worked hard to psyop a whole bunch of names. So we took a look at the word Christian and decided whether or not we were going to use or reject using that term. And if you just refer to a Christian as a person that is a follower of Christ, it's a good and acceptable use of the term. We refer to ourselves as Christians, and we'll fight up for Christianity. But just as Ronnie said right there, what happens is people conflate Christianity and the Bible, and they don't know anything about either one. They don't have the semantic understanding of what a Christian actually is, and they just conflate the two. And so Ronnie was trying to separate the two and show that yes, one is necessary for the other, but it is not the thing itself, right? The Bible is necessary for Christianity. Without it, we wouldn't know what Christ did, but it is not the thing itself. Christianity, true Christianity, is embodying it and living it, exactly like you were saying.
Well, it's been 2,000 years. It's been 2,000 years since all of the commandments, the law, even though there's still people arguing the same thing. It's been 2,000 years. It's been 2,000 years. Christ came and he said, our law hangs upon two things. Two things, okay? It's been 2,000 years, right? Love the Father with all your heart, all your soul, and all your mind. The source, however you want to label them. And then love the other people as you love yourself. He said that everything is judged upon these things. It's been 2,000 years. It's the year 2022. Sunday, October 30th. The time is now about to click 7 p.m. Central. And I'm telling you guys that the scriptures aren't going to save you. It's not going to grant you eternal life. No, living inwards within your heart, becoming healthy, taking care of your body, your mind, your temple, your soul, your spirit, and then outwardly going around and loving other people and showing them how to do it through doing it. And if you're not doing these things, it's been 2,000 years. The MOB, the wild animal thing, is we just went through it step by step, their entire plans. It's been weighed and measured in front of your own eyes. And we're still arguing, in 2022 with people about, what do I have to do to be saved? It's been 2,000 years. And it's frustrating for me. I just hope that everybody can forgive me for, being a little bit upset about it. But, there's so much division over loving the Creator, right? Everybody knows that we are too complex to have evolved from apes. It's 2022. So something created us. There's signs everywhere without the Bible. And if you haven't learned to love yourself as much as you love the Creator, and then to go around loving other people, I don't know what to say. We're at the cut point, right? It's crazy how many people now still want to argue. Oh, the scriptures, it's, what do they think it is? It's a control mechanism, right? Because this one triggers people that are Christians, right? Christianity has nothing to do with the Bible. I'm sure people see red flags. They go, what? They're freaking out. I want to shatter you. I want to bring you away. Like, hello, are you awake? Are you awake? Like, are you actually loving yourself, being healthy? What are you eating? What are you ingesting spiritually? What are you looking at? Right? What are you thinking about? And then how are you treating other people? What are you doing with your time? Schedule it out. Look at your life in a processor in your mind. You can make a Filofax or a date timer. What are you doing? What are you thinking about? What are you building? What are you doing? Are you living like Christ? What did Christ do? It's an easy answer. You just have to read the Bible, right? And there's many other books. There's just 66 that the New World Order decided that we're going to use these ones because they did it to confuse you. They didn't teach it in the right way. They just left nothing but confusions and divisions. And that's what was happening 2,000 years ago, and it's happening today. But I'll tell you guys, the most important thing that you can do is be healthy, learn how to grow food, and take care of your family as much as you can away from the New World Order system. Be as healthy as you can at what you eat and exercise and spiritually. And then opportunities present themselves for you to be loving and sharing and kind and creating. If you're spending your time creating things to try to give people comfort, you're doing a good job. Just think of it. So go to this meme here and I'll stop ranting. This one says sins are like credit cards. So righteous deeds this credit card will say kingdom card. And the more you rack up now, we've had 6,000 years roughly to rack up the points. The more you rack up now, the more you're going to enjoy later. But the way that sins work, so sins, this is again, super loaded target word, sin. Oh, that's Bible talk. Let me be free, right? So Jason and I have explained it. It's really simple. Most things that you want to call a sin is it clean or is it unclean? If whether it be a word, an action, any of those types of things. Is it clean or unclean? Did you harm somebody, right? Or did somebody harm you? See,
righteous or unrighteous. So
go ahead.
With that, it's easy to measure. It's really easy to measure. Are you harming, cheating, stealing, manipulating somebody? If you are, don't, right? All those things are wicked. They're forbidden. They are the sins that you are going to pay for later. And if it's not, maybe just think of some ways that you could be extra loving and help somebody out. You do stuff like that, you're going to be that's exactly what the scriptures ask of us. So having those as our goals is going to put us, like you were saying, you're going to be paying your righteousness is going to be buying you credits in the kingdom for later.
What other people don't understand either, maybe, is they don't know about me, is that I hold myself accountable. I hold myself accountable for everything that I say and do. And I know that I serve the creator of everlasting life. And if I'm going to be held accountable to the creator, I better be, my yeses are yeses, my no's are my no's, and I don't lie. If I go to lie, I just shut my mouth up. I don't even embellish anymore. I try not to, And if I do slip up and say something stupid like that, because I sometimes speak before I think, little problem that I'm working with. So I just repent of it. When I say repent, what people do, I change. I stop doing that. Now, there are things in my life that I haven't changed, but I'm learning from them, and that's the way that I'm going. So not to take it too personal, I skipped a bunch of stuff here. Where were we back here? I think we were at that one. So this one says, remember, whatever you do behind people's back now, right, you're always doing it in front of Yahawah's eyes. So this is one that I've seen, the other side that don't believe in the Bible. They say, oh, why would you have an all-seeing knowing? So, it's for me to have to explain the semantics of it. It's crazy, but I'll try. So, of course, in this creation, we were created to procreate. So most people take it to lust. So, you have decency. Why would Yahawah's spirit be constantly monitoring that? You don't. We think on a human level where a sin is a sin and this is this and this is that. But on a spiritual level, there's something that's much more grand taking place. So the better thing is to understand, why are you triggered? Why everything being recorded? What are you doing that you don't want recorded? Now, if you're doing something in private, why would the spirit of everlasting life not give you privacy? It's ridiculous. He loves you. If you ask him for some fish, he's not going to give you a biting snake. If you ask him for bread, he's not going to go, here, take this rock. He loves you. So stop thinking those weird thoughts. And remember, don't do things behind people's back that you wouldn't do in front of their face. Right? We're talking about what a true Christian is. A true Christian does something in everyone's face. They have nothing to hide. Nothing. They're shameless. Look what happened to Christ. They much not talked about. You know, he's probably nude, right? When he was crucified. You guys want to get real with it? He was shamed. He was shamed probably throughout the whole entire flogging when they beat him, spit on him, tortured him in front of everybody. He wasn't shameable. And either are we. That's what a true Christian is. And we're not going to say something behind anyone's back that we won't say right to your face. Right? We're men. We're not cowards. That's what a Christian is to me. Jason, did you want to add?
Yeah, well, as a truther, you should already acknowledge that everything that you're doing and saying, all of it's being recorded all the time, right? So your phone's listening to everything. It sees what you're typing. It knows who you're talking to. Your phone knows everything about you. You can't hide anything from your phone. Why, if you're a truther and you've come to realize that we're in a virtual world, would you think that any of this would be hidden from the creator of this world? So we know that absolutely everything, including our thoughts, right? The things that the phone can't pick up, including our thoughts, are recorded. Now, the scriptures do give us some confidence of privacy, though, because we've read through multiple scriptures that it's angels that do an accounting, where they do a reporting of whether or not you were wicked or whether or not you were righteous. And so it does look like the father and the judge, the son, that they're not interested in doing that accounting themselves on a daily basis. So there's that privacy, but it doesn't mean that the angels aren't watching what you're recording.
Come on, there's angels in everything. The rocks, the clouds, the sun, the moon, the stars are all recording. They all cry out. All of it, the blades of grass. Okay, if you want to get to semantics on the topic. Right? So anyways, just be righteous. I want to bring the word righteousness back. Why don't people have good hearts? Why don't they want to be good men, good women? Fight for truth. Stand together. You know, don't do stupid, crimey stuff behind other people's backs. Be good. It feels good. It feels much better. And it takes work. Anything in this realm that's worth having, you got to earn it. It's worth working for. We are all human here, it says, until religion separated us, politics divided us, wealth classified us, and race disconnected us. This couldn't be more the topic dear to my heart right now, is that I'm still, after 10 years of fighting for the truth, and I can't even use the word truther anymore. It's been destroyed. It's been destroyed by COINTEL agents that were set up right from the start. They've done nothing but ruin it. Now when you say TWUFA, all you look like is a clown. So what has happened and continues to happen and will always happen is they're going to divide us. So the ones that hear the truth and the voice of it, that aren't ashamed of it, that come out into the light, that don't care if anyone sees them, those ones are going to save their lives. I know that for sure. Race, religion, politics, wealth, all of it is created by a man to divide us.
Absolutely. So it's crazy, but those things down there, those four things are enough to separate people to the point where they start treating other humans as non-humans. All right. So the idea that I could travel to a different country right now, I could go to a certain place in Mexico or Colombia or something like that, and me being totally friendly and nice, I could come under physical harm. Somebody could attack me because somebody feels separated from me because of religion, politics, wealth, or race. It's sad that a person could treat somebody as less than human over things like that, but it has a true reality to it, where they have been able to divide those things from each other. It's gross.
All of it. You know, it's been 6,000 years. So the good thing is some of us have learned the lessons of good and evil, and we're choosing good. So come with us. Let's keep going here. It says, the world is about to soon find out that the scriptures isn't just a storybook. All right. When do you think it's going to happen? It could happen any moment. I believe it's already taken place. Supernatural things are happening every single day for me. But I'm not going to get into the details.
The big event.
Yeah. Well,
Something that makes 9/11 pale in comparison. So from the scriptures, we know that we're supposed to expect something like a fiery burning mountain coming from the sky it's going to devastate a third of the ocean. We're expecting hail mixed with fire and blood to burn up a third of the earth. We're looking for some massive destruction, and it's going to probably look like a Marvel comic type thing. Seeing these things take place, and then the two witnesses have their powers, so we'll see how that all looks. But it should all become very exciting. That last 7 years of this world, what an ending, right? What an ending.
Yeah. It's going to be something that's never seen before. So, yeah, we're excited for that. That's great points. Great points. So we're almost through here. We went through that one. A couple more, and then we'll play us out here. It says a person's character, excuse me. I'll read it again. A person's character is shown through their actions in life, not where they sit on Sunday, which isn't the Sabbath day. Those follow the moons, not the days of the month. Not the sun, they follow the moon. And we aren't even commanded to keep them, right? We're not saved by following man's traditions. We're saved by our outward love for one another, right? And Christ's sacrifice. He atoned it. I told everybody earlier, the first law that came into being was, thou shalt not eat of this tree. And Christ was nailed to a tree and died to free us from that. We are free of it. We are freedom. Christians, a truther. That's why my heart breaks. Because I was the one that said, I'm the truther. Christian should be a truther. Every word that comes out of their mouth should be truth. It doesn't matter how it might hurt them or hurt anyone else. They should always just say truthful things. If we could have just 5,000 of us, the whole world would change in like a blink of an eye, flash of a lightning, and that's what we need. We need at least 5, or what does it say, 144,000. We need a flash, something at a sunset, boom. All these other people want freedom too, and knowledge. Why is it that nobody cries out for knowledge? Why didn't anybody study the virology during the surveys? 3 years now, they're still going on with their germ theory hoax, where there should be mountains of people refuting it with proof. But none. There's nothing. It's just nothingness.
I see a theme coming through tonight where multiple memes have hit on our position that it's not church that defines being a Christian. So like this one here, it's not where you're sitting on Sunday that defines you as a Christian. That you have to get that whole concept of brick and mortar 501c3 church out of your head. It's about who you are, what you're doing. That theme is coming through strong tonight.
I said I actually hold myself accountable. Do people understand? To the creator of everlasting life. He's watching me. I said, I want to help you. Let me help you. Send me into the game. I want to help. And he's watching. He said, you want to help me? So I take full accountability for everything that I say and do. Why do you think I come out here and shock people with this stuff? Because I want to wake you up to understand that it's your heart. It's not about the book. There's so much divisions over these books. They didn't even have the books. Christ was walking around teaching it. He was telling them and they wrote it down. And if only more people cared about knowledge. That's all it is. Matters is how much your heart is curious, because there's only one true creator too, right? The only one. His name's Yahawashai. There's no divisions there. None. Anywhere else you're going to go, you're going to find divisions. And it says under here, in billions of deceived people, right? It's true.
Mm-hmm.
Did you want to say anything? I can keep going.
No, it's true.
It's true. This was the Estonian's creation. I just put the words on here. He came up with this, and it's a great concept, and it's a great meme, and it's also super true. And the reason why we use the name Yahawashai, we're the only ones that do it. We added the extra ah sound at the end of it. is because we like to define things as close to what it actually is as possible. That's what we're curious about, knowing the truth of things. And we found that this is the most ancient name written and known to be for the Creator, and it means existence. And the old language was so simple, they've made everything so hard. Have you ever tried to count to 100 in French? You gotta quantify things, and they come up with new names and new numbers. It's insane, all the different stuff. They do math-magic with the numbers in the regular mathematicians. All they can do is just nonsense. But this language was unambiguous. They didn't have to write the ah because it was always there. Yahawashai is how you would say each and every language. And this is how it was that was spoken from Adam. And the angels speak the same language. So that's why we use this word. You want to mock us. You want to laugh at us. Jaron wants to mock it. People want to put a V in here, which is just nonsense. Because you can go and look at the Sanskrit yourself. You can do the research. We shared it all publicly. I believe it's on this channel. Yahawah. And everybody else is just deceived. We've shown the evidence. Who do you think puts the intelligence in my mind and my heart and the vocal cords move? Who? The creator of life, of everlasting life, tells me to say these things. I don't think of these things on my own. I'm not. You guys have no idea. I'm going to keep going here. It says, we were therefore buried with him through baptism, right? We all that follow Christianity, that read the scriptures, we got our heads dunked underwater. Which name did you use? What did you say? What did it mean to you, your baptism? And have you been baptized by Christ? That's a different one, the spiritual one. I remember I keep telling everyone what's real you cannot see. And it says here, baptism into death, because Christ was killed and tortured for nothing, in order that, just like Christ, then he was raised from the dead through the glory of the Yahawah. That's what it should say here, not Father. We too may live a new life. So what do you think Romans was trying to say here? It might have been Paul. It might have been any of the apostles. Paul was the best scribe. Paul was the most devout old Torah guy. He knew all the scriptures. He knew all the books. He didn't just know what we call the Bible today. Paul had all the books. He alludes to all of them throughout all the different Christian books. We can tie them all together. It's just simple. What he's talking about here was being reborn again, given a new life to try again. How many times do you think on the other side of the screen, we've done this? And I've said this. I'll tell you, this is the first time I've had a screen like this and a capability to be able to put art and graphics and music. I can promise you, though, this is not the first time we've had this conversation. It's just that maybe it's the first time that someone actually showed you that there might be something different on the screen than you know, or that you were able to see before, right? So again, Christ died, he was killed, and he was raised back to life, right? And he was going around saying, don't worry if they kill you. This was the gospel of the good news, ladies and gentlemen. Don't worry if they kill you, you'll be born again. And what did modern Christianity do? They go around and tell everyone once you dunk your head, or some father in a building sprays you with some water, that you've been born again. Now, you're not born again until you come out a new mother's womb. Right? People wake up. It's time to wake up. It's 2022, Sunday, October 30th. What do you think this scripture means? Jason?
Well, it's a ritual, and it's a parabolic ritual. And it was a ritual that was instituted by John the Baptizer, who was sent here to lead the way for Christ. Now, interesting thing about John the Baptizer is he was Elijah. All right, so that's the one instance that we have in the scripture where we see reincarnation plain as day. But there's other places where, as you dig into it, it also starts to make much more sense when you start to contemplate it. But so he instituted this, and it's a ritual, right? And it's a cleansing ritual, and it's a rebirth ritual, and it's done in water. So it's simple enough that anybody can do. It's not like the rituals that the New World Order has, where they're blood this and kill that and all this other type of nonsense. It's a cleansing ritual that outwardly shows you're dying to your old way of life and living a new life, and it's symbolic and it's parabolic. So it's beautiful. I highly recommend it to everyone.
So Christ symbolized rebirth, right? And it was to glorify Yahawah. Everlasting life was to be glorified through Christ's death and being raised from the dead again. So the glory of the Father is that he gives you another life. Don't fret over dying or worrying about anything else other than what the Christ who glorified the Father with his death did was he went around loving other people, fixing things. He was a carpenter. He built things. Do things. Don't just sit on your hands, especially right now. Share the truth. Fight back. Stand up for freedom, right? And you too can glorify the Father, okay? The everlasting life. Be a part of it. You know, having the whole baptism part is one part. It's the Holy Spirit is what you want to be baptized with, not some illusion that we call water in this realm that we think is real. Because I told you everything that's real you cannot see, taste, touch, feel. You might be able to hear it though. I'm willing to argue that sound might be one of the realest things, you know. And there is something with smell too, linked to the soul. But I'm going to continue. We're almost done here. It says fear is a spirit. Did you know that? Fear can invade you like a spirit. It's a dark one, but not a Holy Spirit though. The Holy Spirit, or the ghost of everlasting life. For Yahawah hath not given us the spirit of fear. We're not afraid of anything, but of power. And yes, what is this word? It says love. Love, 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 love. And what does this one say, everybody? A sound mind. We're going over the intelligence of a person, someone's curiosity to want to learn. You want to better yourself, because if you don't have those characteristics, something's not right with you. It's simple. This is the guide to it. We're just showing you.
Yeah, well, that sound mind, it's really critical. So when you have the power coming from Yahawah, that sound mind right there takes a person out of fear, right? So if you have that sound mind, you'll understand that if the Creator's purpose for you is to wake up and do something else tomorrow, you're going to, right? So it's everything that we commit to fear wise, and all fear always comes down to a fear of death at some point. You always worry, if I lose my job, I'm not going to be able to pay for food, and then I'm going to starve, and I can't, I won't have a place to live, and all these types of things. So all fear is rooted in death, but that sound mind, once you rationalize it and realize you're still alive right now, it means that you shouldn't have fear, right? You shouldn't have fear. So, anybody that wants to degrade the Bible and its message, the Bible has everything that the Buddhists and the Hindus and all those have, as far as living well and having well sound mind, and then some. So it has all the great counsel, plus it has salvation through believing in Christ. So it's Christianity, the Bible, it takes the back seat to no other religion, no other teaching, no other explanation for reality.
Mm-hmm. And remember, I said that the most ancient of languages, the ancient Paleo-Hebrew or Sanskrit, is very similar too. The name Yahawah is the same name that Adam spoke and all the angels. And so if you want to know what the son's name, because it has the father's name in it too, his name is Yahawashai, and the Shai actually stands for existence's salvation, right? And it was also the character, and we translated it to Joshua in English, who delivered the people into the promised land, just like Christ delivers everyone into the eternal life land. Right? And whatever it's going to be a glorious place. Trust me. Hold on. We're going to get there. It says here, the true test of your faith is when you don't understand anything at all and still trust Yahawah. Now, the spiritualists will twist it and say like the universe or intentions or destiny. But this word says everlasting existence. So I like the true test of your faith is you trust in the everlasting existence that you're going to be taken care of. What do you think?
Yeah, there's two different paths, and each one is unique. So there's the person that doesn't have all the answers, right, but still has unconditional faith, and that right there is an absolute precious commodity to the Father, for the person that doesn't have all the answers, that still just believes. And the other path is through rationale, reason, logic. And so that right there, if you go that path, you don't get to test faith. You don't get to say, I had faith without just unconditionally, but you can still get there. So the problem is some people are going to get caught lost in their search, the logic, reason, rationale. They're going to be cut off, and they didn't have faith. So the faith is the most essential thing. So you can get to faith through logic and reason, but you got to get there. You have to follow that path far enough to then have faith. So depending on which path you're on, well, the faith one, you're assured. The logic and reason one, you better get to faith soon.
You absolutely just nailed it with that point. I don't think it's ever been explained on a more logical, higher level than that. Ever. Faith made simple right there. Someone needs to clip that. You know that people have the ability to clip sections of the podcast and share them on social media for us? Did you know that?
What?
YouTube, there's a little button that says clip. You could take a clip like 2 minutes long and you could share it and put a title on it, put it on Facebook, on Twitter, on anywhere.
Yeah, I never used that.
Yeah, the option's been there, but I see not a lot of people take advantage of it. But let's continue on here. We're almost done for the evening. It says, because of the increase of wickedness, the love of most, yes, will grow cold. But the one who stands firm to the end, yes, will be saved, given eternal life. Right? Matthew 24:12-13. It's, it's no figure that it's now hate speech, misinformation, right? What did they say? We were celebrating something that was not historical evidence or truth. They actually gave us a disclaimer for the first time ever on YouTube. It was over a Christian video. They said that you were arguing misinformation over the historical events in the video, right?
Community guideline strike, yeah.
For misinformation about historical records that never took place, they're trying to say. So it's now hate speech.
Tabernacles, yeah.
Yeah, it's now banned. Just like me and everything that I do. As soon as I started, I don't know. I'm going to continue here. This is about the team, not me. It says it doesn't matter how many, it doesn't matter how many Sundays you sit in a church, or if you think you are so-called saved, because until you've met before the judge, you're passed into everlasting life, you're not saved. Yahawashai sees what you do and how you treat people. I don't know if I could make this any more simple. What are you choosing to do with your time? Are you lashing out, hurting other people, or are you accepting the gifts in your life and loving them and cherishing them, watering them, making everything better? Yahawashai is watching. This means existence of life. It has no beginning and no end. And it can be read both ways the same way. Look. Yahawashai, right? Also the name of the first mother inside the simulation. Same name. Continuing here, it says, last one, Jay. This one's interesting. It says, whether this is an illusion, like I alluded to, a game, like we keep talking about, some kind of what? For the lack of a better word, simulation. I know the truthers, they call themselves that. I'll come and say, well, it's a satanic word. It means a copy of something that's fake, right? Well, no, we're saying that what is you is real, and you can't see it. It's not in the game. It's inside you. Reality. You are the light, right? Within the image, right? Not the word on a page, but the literal light inside of a human body. When after a body, when you die, you can't transfuse blood anymore because it's gone. It's over with. The light leaves the body. But anyways, it's like the wind, right? It says here, divine revelation or all of the above. So I'll start again. Whether this is an illusion, game, simulation, divine revelation, or all of the above, click, 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 click. The answer is still love. Like, why won't people? I want to see more. I do see a lot of it. I see a lot of people that, whether they're broken, whether they're down, they still take the time to make other people laugh. One quick thing is, what makes me a little disgusted with social media is like, you'll see a beautiful woman and you'll see someone in the comments throwing hot dogs at her. Like if I was a ruler and someone did that in my house, that would be, that would be it for you. Or you'd be decapitated. Why aren't people having courtesy anymore? Respect for one another. Respect women. Hold them up in a place of worship, love, and men too. Why don't the women stand up for the men? Be there. Support them. They need their back rubbed. They need to be told they're doing a good job. Stand up for the people that are fighting for freedom a little bit more out there. Love means sacrificing. means if you're tired or you don't want to do it, but you still push on. I always liken it unto, I use the term a single parent because this whole entire realm has been disgustingly twisted to ruin families. So I know there's a lot of single moms and dads out there, but they have to do what they have to do. They do it. And I want you out there to do love the same way. Just do it. Start loving. The best way to do it is by loving. Go figure, right, Jay? Is by doing it. You can fake love until you make it, right? If you're trying to love someone else, you can't go wrong. You can't.
Yeah, I think we should add one more thing to this list. Even if you're on a ball spinning, flying through space, the answer is still love.
Yes, it is. You're right. That is the game bell ringer of the game. But you know what? It was.
We know that you're not, but so the point is, the answer is always love. If in doubt, choose love. It's the safe choice.
We're gonna get a strike for misinformation. The answer is not love, right? They're gonna say this was independently fact checked by our bot system. So I actually enjoyed doing the earlier time for me because I just want people to know I get up real early. What do you do in the morning if you get up? So our bodies are designed to get up with the sun, to be vertical, and I know not everybody can do that. You can still be healthy too. You need to get into a routine where you still get up and stand up tall and look between the center of your eyes up into the sky and deep breathe every morning. But we need to be a lot more focused on just becoming more healthy people out there and continue fighting for truth. So I get up early every day because I work. I create things. Are you creating things? Are you fighting for truth? What are you doing? It's 2022. All these hours in the morning. If you get up early, if you go to bed early, you can get up earlier and you can accomplish way more, if you sleep in all the time. And you accomplish nothing. So I want to push people on the other side of the screen to start to get into a healthy habit of getting up early and doing something, fighting for truth, trying to make someone laugh, do whatever it is that you can do on any site, on anything you can do, whether online, offline, it's all the same. Just do something is my ask for everyone's homework.
Well, that was great, brother. That was great. We went a little extra long, but that was great. We had the time to do so and wanted to get through this content. I thought the content was great. And those that stuck around for the Christian memes that we did at the end, I think they got something of benefit for sure if people apply some of these things. The earlier section, that's what the New World Order has in plan. So we're using these spiritual memes to arm people up, prepare them for what's ahead. And we're going to keep doing what we're doing until that time comes. So it's
yes. Well,
beyond flat earth for a while, everybody.
Well, you took it up a notch today. Just to do a quick recap, you said we're going to be going into free energy technologies. That's what we're going to do. We're going to continue to try to shine as bright as we can. And we want out of here. So if anyone doesn't know, John the Baptist, right? I don't know if anybody knows where he went. He obviously knew they were going to kill him. And he went for it. So, hey, we're going to do whatever we can to bring freedom here, even if it means Jason wants to push the boundaries as far as he can, right?
Yeah. Who was that guy with the HHO car, the Doom Buggy?
Yeah. Oh, why do you put me on the spot? Oh, I can't believe you just fractured my mind there. I'm trying to think of it as I'm talking. But, I know his name. Stanley Meyer.
Stanley Myers.
Was it Myers? You put me on the spot, but continue.
Mandela.
Yeah, I got it though. Took me a little while for the processor to work.
Yeah, we'll see if we can break open the system somewhere or the other.
Whether it's through spirituality, through true Christianity, whether it's through music, whether it's through art, whether it's through like chanting, I don't know if
getting people off grid and independent.
Yeah, not having to go to the gas station anymore. This is what we're going to fight for on this team. This last song is a good one. It's beautiful. It is a really, really, really nice song. It's called Virtual Happiness. It's by Aurora B. Polaris, which is interesting because I'm from Aurora, Ontario. And Polaris, if you're in Aurora, if you fix a copper pipe outside, you just do a little, little cement work, fix a pipe in it so it's pointed at Polaris, for the next 1,000 years, that Polaris, the whole sky is going to be taken down. But until the sky gets taken down, Polaris will always be in the eye line of that copper tube or whatever it is that you fasten looking at Polaris. If anyone didn't know that, it completely debunks the idea that you're flying wobbling through outer space.
It does. Yep. any more than one axis of rotation. And they say we have 4 axes of rotation. So any more than one axis of rotation, and Polaris could not stay aligned. Nope.
Yeah. And it stays perfectly aligned. And you can do the same with sigma octans in the south, but it's just a void region in the sky, right? Because Earth has 2 poles over the flat map. It's a stereographic reality. But I'm ranting way too much. But hey, that's why we're going to go earlier. Maybe we'll do it again. We'll see what the debriefing happens with the team, the mastermind group with the 4 of us. But we work hard. So Jason, thanks a lot. I thought you did an excellent job. I'm so thankful to have you to help me reading, because everything that I practice in the morning is really to bring to the table as a team here. And that's what the goal has been right from the start. And I'm just thankful that we're getting back to it. And let's hope we can continue to get better. I want to be better every day.
All right. Well, great night, brother. And we'll be putting up a thumbnail for the hydrogen hangout. I don't know if it's going to be this Wednesday, maybe this Friday, but we'll have it up a few days in advance to let people know. And that's going to be a fun topic. So looking forward to that.
All right.
That's it, brother.
Okay. Everybody, make sure you do your homework. That's love and do stuff. Okay. You can say the last words, Jason, please.
All right. Thanks for joining, everybody. We'll see you all soon. Have a great night.
Only on Beyond Flat Earth.
It's me. So I had a dream about us again last night. This time we were standing by the ocean, watching the sunset. Your hair and your dress gently flowed in the wind. You looked as beautiful as ever. We sat down and watched the sun slowly disappear beyond the endless horizon as the glow gradually faded away.